Well, hey there folks, this is Vlad from Review Outdoor Gear, and today we are coming to you from beautiful Banff in British Columbia, Canada, and hanging out at this awesome campsite, just enjoying the views, and thought I'd do a review for you guys. And this item is something that I kind of just saw off the bat and thought it was kind of gimmicky and kind of thought I'd hate it, but ended up kind of liking it and thought I'd share it with you guys. So it is this teeny tiny little flashlight. Basically, this is just a flashlight. It is made by Wuben, which is a Chinese brand. Nothing fancy, you know. I kind of tend to shy away from the Chinese EM type flashlights, but like I said, I thought I'd hate it. I wanted to hate it, but I haven't been able to hate it yet. Definitely has some quirks and stuff that I don't like, but it's kind of a unique little light, one that I have not used before, and it has a lot of cool features. So I thought I'd share them with you and tell you about what I do like and what I don't. And just, yeah, I thought, you know, it's a pretty inexpensive little piece of gear, and we'll see how long it exists on the market, but here you go. So it's a tiny little flashlight. I mean, it's probably 2 inches tall this way, 1.5 inches by just over 1.5 inches thick this way. Weighs probably, I don't know, it's really light, maybe a couple of ounces at most. It is made out of aluminum and comes in a couple different colors. There's like black, there's this like military type green, and the first thing that I've noticed is, so I've been using this for about a month. I had it for a month. First thing I've noticed is it is not anodized. Pretty sure it's just painted, so that rubs off pretty quickly. You'll see all over the edges just from being in my pocket, rubbing against my keys or my pocket knife, or just from daily use, it's coming off. It looks cool still, you know, it has a nice kind of patina look to it, but definitely not a hard anodized finish that will, you know, last you for years and will be abrasion resistant. But that's that. So some of the cool features, well, there's a lot of cool features. So this is the light on here. The first cool feature is this swivels on an axis this way, 180 degrees. So it kind of locks in there like that, and then it locks in the upward position like that, and it locks in the opposite position like that. So cool feature, and it kind of detents in this position, the upward position. You can kind of hear that click, and this position, but you can have it adjusted to any position, you know, along that spot like that, you know, angled anywhere along the 180 degrees. A little heating, you know, heat reducing fans or heat sink fins on the back there. Little logo saying the light gets hot, as always, you know. Next feature on the side is the button that turns it on. And to turn it on, you have to make sure the slider is in the position that says light. There's a lock position in which it won't work. There's a light position there that in which the light turns on, and then there's a position that says battery, and that's to expose the USB Type-C charging port. So cool feature is this is USB Type-C rechargeable. No batteries you got to put in. You know, to some people that could be a downside, to some people that's a positive, but pretty universal these days. Type-C, everybody's got one. You can plug it in and charge it. The slider has little detents along the way. Not really sturdy though. That's kind of one of my negatives. Downsides of this thing is as you're jostling around in your pocket or just handling it, this tends to slide from one position to the other pretty easily. It's not like it's a hard locked in thing, and so when you go to reach in your pocket, you know, want to turn on right away. If you go to turn it on and it doesn't work, you're like, oh, is it slid down into the locked position or is it in the charging position? So the only spot it works is when it's in this position right there, and then press the button and it turns on. And the button on the side kind of goes through this little wheel that adjusts the brightness. It's kind of on a gradient from 400 lumens down to 2 lumens, and I will say it's pretty accurate on being 400 lumens. It is really bright for the little flashlight that it is. That being said, you know, it's not going to run forever on the 400 lumen setting, but it is really bright. You can see pretty dang bright. It might run for, I don't know, realistically 10, 15, 20 minutes on that setting at most. But when you do scale that back down to the really low setting, it'll run for hours on that. And it's actually a usable amount of light. You know, if you're in the pitch black, this is actually right enough to see where you're going, or like take a look at something that's kind of in your tent or something like that, or just in the dark space. That works. And then you can kind of adjust it from there with the little slider. And then when it blinks double, that means, or just blinks, that means it's at the brightest setting. Here's a kind of a quick idea of how bright this thing is. It's pretty dark. Camera makes it look brighter than it is, but it's definitely dusky. And then here's the light. Pretty dang bright. I mean, that's max power. Oh, there's max power right there. So you can see it lights up pretty far into the woods. For a tiny little flashlight like that, I mean, that is definitely considerable. And you can tone it back down to, you know, barely perceptible, like, oh, there's my shoes. But compared to that, you know, there's max power. So definitely, you know, accounting for the camera, adjusting for the brightness of the light, it's definitely a bright little flashlight, and it'll stay this bright for enough time. You know, you're not going to be using this as your primary light anywhere, but it'll definitely do the job when you need it to. So really nice and bright, really cool. Yeah, see, it's pretty dark. So there you go. So it only emits white light from this light here. This light is for all of the other light features that it has. So if you get the manual, there's a whole technique on how to get all the different lights. But essentially, if you turn it on and you long press that button, you get red or whatever color you left it at. And then the little slider actually will scroll through the whole color spectrum, which is kind of cool. Not sure, you know, what all you use that for, but you can get green, you can get red, and all these random colors. Red is the most useful, obviously, for nighttime, you know, operations, or just night vision preservation. But otherwise, if you double press the button, at some point, you will get rave colors and flashings and stuff like that. And then if you turn it off, I think, and then double press it, you'll get like what seems to be illegal police color flashing setting. And then you can scroll, I think, through that and get like different, like it'll scroll or it'll flash like the different color settings and stuff like that. So to be fair, I've had it for a month and I haven't used all those settings, so I haven't even learned all those. But there are those options if you want to do a little bit of like for example, I could see the flashing option being useful if you're like biking or something and you want to be seen, or you're just, I don't know, in an emergency or something like that. That being said, it's not too bright, so not like it's going to stand out for miles and miles, but there is that function. Another really cool function is that it's magnetic. On the back, there's a magnet there, and I've used that quite a bit, actually. If you're out by your car or just outside working or just near any metal object, it will magnet on there. It'll stick on there, and I will say it sticks pretty well. Even if you got like a little screw, it'll hang on that screw, or if it's in the wall, it'll stick on that screw. It's a pretty strong magnet. And then, you know, that gives you the option of having it on and, you know, shining down, or if you're like working under your car, you could stick it somewhere, something like that. It's actually pretty useful. It's a cool feature. I wish more flashlights had a magnet. I've actually used that quite a bit more than I thought I would. So there's that. And then the other really cool feature is this clip. Well, I like the clip and I also hate the clip. So in this position, it's kind of in this neutral position. It's kind of hard to get underneath and use reason, you know, kind of, it's not really in a usable position. Like clipping it this way in your pocket, like if your pocket is like this, you know, clipping it that way is annoying, but then you have to like go on the side and it's just kind of floppy. So the way it's in normally is not really exactly a useful position, but it does rotate. So you kind of pull it out and you turn it, and this feels kind of flimsy, but it works. You kind of just pull on it, and this gives you a lot of cool features. So this way is the way that I'd see you carrying in your pocket, right? Being more flat, you could stick in your pocket that way. That also lends itself to if it's in your chest pocket or on like a backpack strap, you can angle that light forward, and now you have a little front-facing light that, you know, illuminates your path or your work item or whatever you're doing. The other option is you can now, if you have a hat, you can put this on your hat bill, and now you have a headlight. And it's actually functional that way. I've used it a couple times. It's not too heavy where it droops your hat down or falls off. In this position where the clip is turned this way or down, and does do both, it actually has a pretty strong detent, so it actually holds onto your hat pretty well. It's got a little bit of like a rubber inset there, and it says Wuben on it as well, and it holds pretty well. I wish they had made this little recess that they have on the side here, just on the front, but it's probably limiting, it's, you know, limited by battery capacity or something like that. So that's the position that it tends to stay in. So overall, it's a really cool little flashlight. It's got a little lanyard hole there to if you want to, you know, put on your keychain or on a little lanyard. Has a little rail system on there as well. Not that you'd ever use that, I think, for anything, but you could, I don't know, attach it to something. So overall, it has a couple quirks. The slider and the button is kind of hard to index. You know, when you pull it out of your pocket, you don't really know exactly where the button is to turn it on every time. And the clip being a little bit quirky are its downsides, but otherwise, it's a really cool little flashlight. Has a lot of cool features, and for the price, I mean, it's like 20 bucks or something like that. Maybe a little bit more, but you can get it on Amazon, or at least you could at the time of this video. And I found it to be quite handy. It's a little gimmicky, and, you know, it looks kind of cool, but yeah, you know, decide for yourself if it's something that you want. But I thought I'd share it with you because it's a really cool little design, unique, and I've liked it. So I thought, hey, maybe the folks out there want to know. So there you go. That is the Wuben G5 Flashlight. If you've got any questions, put those down below, or any comments or any suggestions, please leave those down below. Let us know. Hope you enjoyed. Otherwise, have a great day. Don't forget to praise God for this beautiful creation that we have out here, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.